JSON Convert is a CLI tool that allows us to convert common command line, these command line tools like dig and ls. Oh, even, I wonder if like the ps command will work on this. We're gonna try it out. JC's takes the output from common command line tools and it allows us to convert that to JSON, which is a lot more parsable. That's pretty powerful because one of the challenges that we have when we're dealing with various command line tools on various operating systems is that their format output it's not uniform. It's different. It's different across all of them. So whether you're using networking tools or file tools and folders, the format's going to be wildly different between all of them. And so being able to use something like a tool that converts all that data into a JSON, which is more parsable, allows us to then query into all that data, all the output information, which is really useful. So we can see here, for example, just running dig command, which does a DNS query against example.com, that's going to return us a datagram with IP addresses associated with this domain. We can then parse that into JSON. Okay, so it does look like it requires us. Do we have to do this? Is this a required part? We'll find out. I'm curious about it really quick. Let's test it. All right, here we go. We're running a quick test. Dig example.com, JC dig. So it gives us our A records. Oh, or cert. The DNS. Okay, so the DNS provider. Ooh. Let's see what happens if we do a short dig. Oh, it didn't work. Oh no. I guess that's pretty parsable as is. If you do short, you're just going to get whatever records back. So here's an example. If we run a dig against a domain, it's going to give us back mostly going to be the A records, right? We want those A records so we can then connect to those IP addresses and fetch the data against the web API. There's a lot of things that are all around this, and it makes it a challenge to sort of parse that. So something we can do is run JC command. I'm curious to see what it does without any, okay. So it does require me to say what I'm parsing. So I want it to parse a dig. Here we go. I guess that makes sense. I mean, the JC command could do a little bit extra and help sort of understand what is being fed into it. It could sort of help intuit that. However, it doesn't. Maybe there's a command that supports it, but you need to also specify what is inputting into the JC command so it knows how to parse it. I wonder if it can do quad A records. And it can, look, it can do IPv6. We can install the JSON Converter command line tool, the JC CLI, in a lot of different ways. One of the easy ways is through PyPi with pip install JC. Just click that and run that in your terminal. There's a few other ways to install on various platforms. You can apt-get, you can do your DNF, and then brew install for your Mac. And once you've installed JC, now you can run common command line tools on your terminal that you can pipe over into JC, and it will convert it into JSON for you. This is really useful and powerful. Often some of the tools that we might build sort of rely on various CLI commands. A lot of commands, a lot of variety of commands. And so here's ooh, it's even got ARP. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. Look at all. Okay, so even Bluetooth. Okay. A checksum parser? Why would you need? I mean, usually those are pretty simple outputs. I'm kind of curious. Okay, we'd give it a try here. The checksum, which is simple. chsum, our local directory for anything. I made a test file here. So cksum star piped it. What do we get? Normally we just get this kind of output, which is a little cryptic, though it is parsable. I would say pretty easily parsable. However, we pipe it to JC and say cksum. It gives us a nice output that's a little bit more easy to understand. Ooh, it's got cron tab. That's nice. Those are usually pretty... they're pretty sometimes a little difficult to read because how many different parameters are on each of the cron entries. Even a CSV, that's kind of neat. You know, that is actually pretty useful because when we're parsing a CSV, there's usually quotes all over the place or commas in places where you're not exactly sure how to parse them unless you have a real CSV parser. And it's nice to be able to just open up a CSV file, pipe it over to JSON, and then you can run queries across it with JQ, the JQ command line tool. Ooh, a date parser. All right, I got to try this one really quick. We're going date JC, and then it should give me an error because I need to say it's a date. I just got to tell it what it is. Ooh, that's actually pretty sweet. Oh, it even gives you, so it gives you the epoch if you want it. Wow, that is actually, there's a little bit of extra stuff going on here. Because normally when you just type in date, you get this output. So then what we can do is we can even go a step further and grab just the specific information we're looking for. Normally, in order to grab the year, for example, we would have to figure out how to parse this or probe date directly with the year. However, instead we could just do something like JQ and ask for the year. I do believe that should work, and I should get 2023. Very nice. It did the trick. That is actually very clean. The only part that is a little bit extra that you have to double align with what's being parsed, what's coming through the picture. I get it. I understand why. It would be nice if we could understand and sort of grab the data that's coming through, but that would require a little bit extra effort on JC's side. So instead, it just asks for what is being parsed, I guess. We're trying out the JC command line tool that allows us to take JSON and convert it. Well, wait, no, the other way around. It allows us to take common command line tools, capture the output, and convert it into JSON. So JC stands for JSON Convert. Is it JSON Convert or Converter? Just convert, JSON Convert, JC. So let's try out, I'm gonna try out a few more commands here really quick to see what options are available. So we've got the df command here that helps us see how much space is left on our different volumes. So I can just run df-h and I get a lot of output. However, I can pipe that into JC, say -df, and it's going to give me a nice JSON output. And I can pipe that to JQ, and it's going to format it nicely for me, make it pretty. So you can see all of my different mounts here and the size and how much is available, which is a lot nicer. Having to parse those outputs does require a bit more effort, and if it's automatic through the JC command, this helps a lot because that means I don't have to do it. It does it for me. Oh, you know what? I wonder if it has the PS command, right? See what processes are running. See, scroll down here really. Okay, we're in the. It does. Okay. I mean, that would make sense. It's one of the more common ones, right? We need to see what's running. So if we just run the PS command here, you can see that it gives me an output of, a bunch of things that are currently operating in this context at least. And then if I want it to be pretty and parsable, I can run it through JC and give it the PS. And then it gives me something that's a lot easier to deal with and tells me what each things are too. Ah, that is kind of nice. Process ID, command that's running at the current moment. Very nice. I like it. You can also see it's self-running, right? So we can see that the JC command itself is currently running. Oh, it's got the stat, which is kind of nice to see what's going on. So I've just ran some stat here. For example, you say stat, local directory. You get this output, and there's a lot going on here. I could probably pipe that over to JC and say it's the stat, and it's gonna get, very nice. So let me make that a little bit more readable. Oh, it gives you a whole bunch of, see, this is really useful because now I can understand some of the output provided. Excellent, very excellent, I like this. Now here's one I really wanna try. I was playing with it a little bit earlier, but there's a problem with, top is continuously running, right? So there's gotta be a way just to sort of print out just the current state of top. There's a link here to details. Let's see what that says. Okay, so I need to provide a few extra parameters. Oh, look at that. Okay, so here, check this out. So now I don't have to write top twice. Oh, so I could probably do this with the other commands. That's pretty nice. Okay, that's kind of what I was looking for earlier. Let's try it out. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it didn't work. Totally failed. That did not. Let me see if the other way works really quick. It could be just because I'm on Linux, not a Linux system here. Yeah. Darn, I really wanted. All right, I tried various methods to get it to work on. It seems like Mac is having a challenge. I'm having a challenge getting it to work on Mac. The B is for batch mode, which allows you to export all the current running state that top would normally print to you on a screen. Usually when you run the top command line, it's a continuous running and updating in your terminal window over time on a specified interval. However, in order to parse that data and pipe that over into JC to be a JSON format, it needs to get sort of just a single dump of the output, and that's what batch mode is. On Linux, it's a -B command. However, on Mac OS, you can use a -L command, which does a similar thing. However, JC is having a hard time parsing that output. So you can see on my Mac, I can run -L. So running -L with a with 1 as a parameter gives us this output, which is exactly what we're looking for. And it's something that JC could parse, but it doesn't. JC -top, and it's like, oh wait, oh no, just kidding. I thought it was going to work for a second, but it didn't. Works fine on Linux, so if I spun this up in Docker, it would be fine. There's also uptime. I'm actually kind of curious to see JC uptime, see if that does the trick. I should be, oh, it did, it works. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, so my laptop here has been up and running for 3 days and 14 hours. Oh, that's really useful. I think I also saw uname in there, so JC uname, that should give me, well, it doesn't like it on Mac either. That is very interesting. Oh, it's printing out its, okay. So I did it I did it wrong, and it's letting me know with all the possible options that are available to me, and it's printing it out in JSON format. It's like, look, you can actually do it this way. So I was able to get uname to work with a uname-a, which gives you a whole bunch of information about your machine and the current version that you're operating on. So that's great. That's awesome. One other thing, you know, typically I've always had a challenge with the free command. The free command is great because it tells you how much memory is available either in your C group or in the operating system in total. And that's important that you have that data because you might want to inform some stats metrics, or you might be doing something needing to have access to that data. But free has always been an interesting challenge to parse, and they do support it, but not on Mac, so it's hard to give an example on that. I could spin up a Docker container. One of the last interesting things here with the JC command, it will do things like converting files from YAML to JSON, or CSV to JSON, or XML to JSON, which is great all on its own. Just with that alone, being able to take those files, read them from disk, and then convert them into something that's a little more easy to parse. That's really powerful.